there have been many gold spikes, many silver spikes in that time. Why is now the right time?
Yeah, well, right on our presentation material, I put el tiempo es ahora, which is the time is now. And I think that addresses that very question. It's certainly a question that I get a lot from intelligent investors. And a lot of that is kind of the other side of what I was just saying. So if this is so close to 4 different mills and a mining community, why has it not been moved on? There's a lot of, I could spend probably 30 minutes with you over a beer telling you about all of the points in history about, why at each point it seemed to just not quite work through the 30s and 40s. So the thing was shut down in 1913 because of the violence of the Mexican Revolution. Okay. And that's not unique. There was a lot of different operations in different industries that were affected greatly by that violence at that time. In the 1930s and 40s, there were a number of different Mexican entities that tried to restart the thing. They all ran out of capital. In the 1940s through till 2012, the project was owned by a Mexican family surnamed Ramirez. Now, in 1972, Mr. Ramirez Sr. cut a deal with Fresnillo. And your listeners, I'm sure, know Fresnillo is the largest silver producer in the world. It's a very big and important company in Mexico. And I say Fresnillo, back then it was actually Peñoles. Fresnillo was spun out of Peñoles, so an even bigger company. But they did a deal with the big mining company in 1972. That's when Las Torres, the mine and mill right next door to us, was being put in production. The story goes, at the last moment, the big company wanted to change the terms of the agreement. And Mr. Ramirez said, in very strong Spanish, I'm sure, no way, you're not going to steal my mine from me. So what happened was this relatively small claim block became isolated within an island of claims that are owned by Fresnillo. And I think that may have turned off some of the bigger companies around over the years. I'll make one more point about that. So the older Mr. Ramirez, I've met the fellow's son, by the way, Ivo Ramirez. He's about my age, but the older chap, he built his own mill on this property. And so it's about 40 years old, this mill. It looks about 140 years old. This is Stone Age technology. He built this with wheelbarrows and picks and shovels and with the sweat of his brow. It's kind of tragic. It never produced an ounce of gold. It still exists. We've got pictures of it up on our website.
I saw that.
Right?
So just coming back to the question is, you're saying that because it's been the Ramirez family and who had this falling out back in the early 70s, they have not thought to try and monetize at any point in the last 50 years. But you guys, was it you guys, or was it a management team before you guys managed to persuade them to relinquish?
The Ramirez team. Certainly Ivo Ramirez. That's the fellow who I have met. Not really a mining guy. He does other business. So I can't really comment about who else they might have approached. In 2012, they approached my now partners, the Dorado family, who are a father and son mining engineering team. They tried to advance it for a couple of years. In 2016, they thought it was a good idea to vend it into a Canadian company where they felt that maybe they'd be able to attract some additional capital.
Okay. And then so Ramirez owned it originally. Dorado family, father and son. One of whom or both of whom work with you now?
Both do.
Right. Okay.
They're both mining engineers. Hernan is the younger of the two. He's 40 years old. He's worked in Canada at a big mine in Ontario. He's worked in Australia, so he's back working in Mexico now. And the father, Gerardo, also a mining engineer. He works as our country manager, we call him. I say general manager. All of the nuts and bolts about all of the stuff that we've been doing for the last 3 months, he's in charge of.
Okay, and as part of that deal, you guys, the company bought the royalty from the Dorado family. Is that part of that deal structure?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. And that was just a case of work trying to clean up the corporate balance sheet, or why did you do that?
Yeah, so I mean, previous Vangold management, when they acquired the property, they thought it was wise to not give the Dorados very much equity in the company, but to give them a series of royalties that would pay, obviously as production moved forward. So in theory, that's a good idea. I find it kind of inelegant. And what it does do is it makes our Mexican partners mostly aligned with shareholders, but not completely. And I'll just correct you on one thing, Matthew. What we signed there a few weeks ago with the Dorados, it's an option agreement. Vangold has until December 31st of this year to execute that option, which we intend to do, but we're working on a couple of different business things that would smooth that over.